Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, day 842, something like that, of the quarantine. I am missing your faces tremendously, and I enjoy making the videos for you guys. I've always been able to do that. That's not a problem, but I've also been able to come into the class and see you after I make the videos so we can talk about them. This is still just kind of bizarre. Anyway, there was, let's see, 3 of you joined the Zoom class yesterday. I did send out a schedule for you guys to look at, and I want to make sure that we are meeting regularly. And if you look at that schedule, you guys are set to meet with me again on Monday at 11 o'clock. I will try to keep the sense of routine about all of this so that we can keep in touch, but I need you guys to buy in as well. I know some of you have watched the videos and you know I've pleaded with you many times over. This class is not like just a regular high school class. It's not something you can brush off. I'm sure by now most of you have heard that the NTI days are not designed to hurt you. NTI days can only help you. There is an exemption to that, and they are dual credit classes. If you are not participating in your dual credit classes, you don't get any help. It's, whatever happens, happens. There are 10 of you in this class. I received 9 quizzes. The quiz was due Tuesday, and I only have 9 of them, so somebody has a 0 right now, and that has really hurt their grade. So, and I mean, we can't make exceptions for this. You guys, when you enrolled to take a college class, you knew what you were getting yourselves into. I don't mean to sound so negative and down right now. I just really want some of you to realize the importance of what's going on. This is not just a break that we have. EKU, their classes are completely online from this point forward. So if we do come back, you guys will have a better opportunity because you will be able to work with me in person from time to time. But if you were on campus, you would still be expected to be doing this work. If you were taking this class at EKU, you would still be expected to be doing this work, and you would have to be doing it on time. So it is important to stay on top of this stuff. The set of notes we're looking at right now, this is the last set before our test. So it's the equations and inequalities involving the absolute value function. Those of you that met with me yesterday know about the test. I will be posting the test on Monday, and I will give you guys until 11:59 p.m. Tuesday to get that test complete. It will consist of 25 multiple choice questions only, no open response. And I may send it out in the as a Google form where you can just click on your answers, and it will give you your score immediately. So that's what I'm playing with right now. I haven't made up my mind, but by Sunday I will have everything figured out, and that test will be ready to go. So be expecting an exam come Monday. And like I said, it will be due Tuesday. You guys, when we meet on Monday at 11 o'clock, I would expect that all of you would join that Zoom meeting to talk about any questions you may have as they relate to the exam. If you ask me questions specific on the exam, I will not answer those, but I will answer questions that are similar or any misconceptions you may have. What we're looking at today, again, should be relatively easy for you guys to work with. We're talking about equations and inequalities that involve the absolute value function. So when we talk about the absolute value function, remember, it measures a number's distance from 0. So the absolute value will always come out to be positive. When we are solving an absolute value equation, like you see here on example 1, the first thing that you want to do is ensure that the absolute value is the only thing on one side of the equation. It doesn't matter if it's on the left or on the right. I know everybody likes to keep things on the left-hand side. So in this case, the absolute value is the only thing on the left side of the equation. So once that criteria is met, then you can go on and follow the steps to solve an absolute value equation. If there's let's say it was x plus 2 inside the absolute values, minus 12 on the outside, you would need to move that minus 12 first to get the absolute value by itself. But in this case, in our example, the absolute value is by itself. So whenever we reach that point in the problem, we can set up two cases. The first case, we just simply drop the absolute value bars, and we have x plus 2 equals 5. The second case, we leave the x plus 2 as it is, and then we just have the opposite of what's on the right hand side. So now we have two algebraic equations that we can solve very easily. The one here in red, we would just subtract 2 from both sides, and you get x is equal to 3. The one in this purplish blue color, we would subtract 2 as well, and we get x equals negative 7. So our solution to this absolute value is x equals negative 7 and positive 3. And that's all you have to do on that. Inequalities are not any different, but you just have to pay attention to how the inequality is expressed. If it is less than or less than equal to, then we'll follow a very simple process. If it's greater than equal to, it's a little bit different, not any more difficult, just different. So for the less than or less than equal to case, like we have here in example 2, again, the absolute value has to be the only thing on one side of the inequality. And we would just take the right-hand side is positive 4. So we're going to take the opposite of positive 4, less than x, less than 4. And that's it. This one is done. There's nothing else to solve. We don't have to move any terms around. So we would just get that x, actually this is the solution set. X is between negative 4 and 4. So if you wanted to write it in set notation, it'd just be x such that, almost put equal to there, x such that x is between negative 4 and 4, and you're done. This box here in green gives you exactly what I was just talking about. You have the absolute value of something, in this case u is less than a. That's equivalent to the opposite of a is less than u, which is less than a. And similarly, if it's less than equal to, it's the same thing. Just make sure you use the right inequality. Example 3 says to solve the inequality and graph the solution set. So we are doing something a little bit different with this one. But we notice first of all that our inequality is less than equal to. So we're going to set that up, negative 3 less than equal to 2x plus 4 less than equal to positive 3. So the first thing I want to do is subtract the 4. So if I subtract 4 from the middle, I have to subtract it from both ends. And now I have negative 7 less than equal to 2x less than equal to negative 1. And then one more step would be to divide everything by 2. So when I do that, I get negative 7 halves less than equal to x less than equal to negative 1 half. And we've found our solution set, but we only have one more step to take, and that is to graph the solution set. So if we were to graph this, I'm going to just draw a generic number line here. Here's 0, 1, 2, 1, negative 2, negative 3. Okay, so negative 7 halves would be negative 3 1/2. And it would be a closed circle because the inequality is less than equal to. So a negative 7 halves. And then I have negative 1/2, which also would get a closed circle because it's less than equal to. And my solution set, x is between these two values. So that means my solution set is this shaded area between the 2 points. Any value between negative 7 halves and negative 1/2 would be the solution to that inequality. Example 4, 2 more to go. This will be a quick set. Example 4, we have the greater than or greater than equal to case. Now, greater than equal to is a little bit different. What we first start out with, in this case, the absolute value is already by itself, so it's an easy example to work with initially. We would take our variable x. It's less than the opposite of what's on the right-hand side of the inequality. And then we have a second inequality, which is x is greater than the 3. So flip the inequality, change the sign on what's on the right-hand side. The other inequality that you solve, you just simply get rid of the absolute value. So here's our solution set. It's going to be x is less than -3, x is greater than 3. So not a big challenge there, but we'll look at example 5, and we're going to do a similar process to what we did with example 3, where we're going to graph the solution set. So here we have a absolute value that is greater than some value. So we will first start out with what's inside the absolute value, flip the inequality, change the sign on what's on the right-hand side, and then our second inequality is identical to the given problem, just without the absolute value. So here we're going to add 5 in both cases. And you can solve these simultaneously, or you can do them one at a time. It's all up to you. I would get 2x is less than 2. And over here I would get 2x is greater than 8. Then we want to divide everything by 2. And now I have x is less than 1. X is greater than 4. And we will graph this on our number line. Alright, so at 1, it's going to be an open circle because it is strictly less than. And at 4, it's an open circle because it is strictly greater than. So for the x less than 1, it's x and then everything less than that value, or it's 1 and everything less than 1. And then at 4, it's 4 and everything greater than 4. So everything to the right of 4. And that will be the graph of your solution set. The suggested problems are all very similar. I want you to pay close attention to numbers 5 and number 6. Think about the implications of those problems before you just jump right in and start blindly repeating the same steps that I did at the very beginning of this set of notes. Think about what it means for something to have an absolute value. In the case of number 10, now look at this one. You have that minus 4x inside the absolute value. So when you get down to the point where you set up your two inequalities, do not forget the rule that when you divide an inequality by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality. So just pay attention to that. Again, if you all have questions, just send them to me. Let me know. I hope you all are doing very well. I do hope to talk to all of you on Monday if I don't hear from you over the weekend. And you guys just stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon.